That memorandum has many weaknesses. The United States is not a signatory. The memo itself was signed without the approval of the MEK, and Mrs. Rajavi was asked only after the fact to encourage residents of Ashraf to move to Camp Liberty in reliance on it. Although the memorandum contains a statement that the Iraqis will abide by the international principle of not returning people to a country where they face persecution, the so-called non-refoulement principle, it pointedly does not contain any guarantee against arrest under a warrant issued by the Iranian government. And as we have all come to know, even the physical accommodations at Camp Liberty are not yet adequate to sustain anyone, when such elementary facilities as electricity and running water are not yet available. And the Iraqis keep reducing the size of the available space that the residents of Ashraf may occupy, and it's now down to less than 2 kilometers from the 40 originally suggested. And it's become increasingly apparent that the accommodations at Camp Liberty will most closely resemble those of a prison. The residents of Ashraf are being increasingly restricted in the possessions that they can take with them. What's to be done? Well, obviously one thing to be done is that we have been doing and are going to continue doing, which is coming together and making our presence known, and in the words of Nouri al-Maliki, causing a controversy. Another thing to be done is to apply maximum pressure to the U.S. government to delist MEK. We've heard repeatedly from the UN High Commissioner for Refugees that the continued presence of MEK on the State Department's list of foreign terrorist organizations inhibits even European states from receiving Ashraf residents as refugees. It also provides the Iraqis with a convenient excuse for their barbaric behavior. Again, one need look no further than the column by Nouri al-Maliki in the Washington Post. He wrote as follows. This is what he said. He said the camp's residents are classified as a terrorist organization by many countries and thus have no legal basis to remain in Iraq. No country would accept the presence of foreign insurgents on its soil. That's what he said. Of course, the reference to many countries is a blatant lie. MEK is removed from such lists in the EU and in the UK, and indeed in every country in the civilized world. The only countries that actually list MEK as a terrorist organization, as you've heard, are the United States and Iran, which tells you something about the validity of the designation. And of course, the UN High Commissioner for Refugees and the Maliki column speak volumes about what good would be achieved by delisting. It would make it possible to assure the safety of 3,400 people, whose safety is very much in peril now. I return again to the plain truth that the current predicament of the 3,400 residents of Ashraf is due to their having relied on the word of the United States. We cannot teach the world the lesson that the one thing more dangerous than defying the word of the United States is relying on the word of the United States. That would be a tragic lesson, not only for the people of Ashraf, but also for every country that considers itself a friend of the United States and that depends on the United States for its safety. Several times at these conferences, I've had occasion to quote Abraham Lincoln, who described the United States as the last best hope of earth, and have said that those words may be even more true today than when he spoke them in the 19th century. Well, there are other words of Abraham Lincoln that we must also pay attention to, and that we disregard at our peril. He also said we cannot escape history. He said we will be remembered in spite of ourselves. No personal significance or insignificance can spare one or another of us. He said that the experience that he and his fellow citizens were passing through will light us down in honor or dishonor to the latest generation. Words were meant to stir his countrymen to be bold enough to abolish slavery. But they contained a warning, which was that if they did not act honorably and do that, they would be remembered in dishonor to the latest generation. If the United States gives its word to people and then does not do all in its power to fulfill that word, and those people suffer or die as a result, we Americans will be lighted down in dishonor to the latest generation. Delisting provides a way to help avoid that. by making it easier for the 3,400 residents of Ashraf to get out safely. Another way to help is to put pressure on the Iraqi government not to do what the Iranians want them to do. We Americans here must bring about an honorable result, and we must help our government to do the same. Thank you.